guys, welcome back. Ray from Tails&Snails here. Been a while since I did a video, so I wanted to kind of walk through a couple of tanks, talk about some cool things that I saw, show you guys, update where we're at, how things are going, the usual. So let's jump right in. So first thing I wanted to talk about, our little shrimp tanks here. So you'll notice I've got 1, 2, 3 little guppies in here, and you might say, Ray, I thought you mentioned it's really hard to breed shrimp if you've got fish eating all the shrimp babies. Well, that is true. These guys are in here on a temporary mission. So I ended up with those little Cyclopods, those little water bugs, and in a tank like such as a shrimp tank where all I've got are shrimp and snails, there are really no predators. So I had these little guys bouncing around. Those look like little water fleas, harmless. They're actually in every aquarium, but if you have fish, you are guaranteed to never ever see them. So I had a bunch of them. They were on the back wall. In fact, I came down, so I put them in yesterday morning, and these guys immediately started eating them like candy. And here we are, morning. They were visible everywhere, and I let them go. So actually, when you guys see these, you're actually doing right. Your aquarium is actually doing well. So don't be alarmed if you see them. They're no big deal. But I saw quite a bit of them, and I was just like, let these guys clean them up. And sure enough, if you have a tank that has fish in them, you are probably never ever going to actually see these things. So let me kind of come over to one of the other tanks here and see if we can find them, because this is going to be their next stop on their journey. And this shrimp tank, let me flip the light off a little bit so you guys can see. Sorry about the fingers. And let's see if I can focus in, find them. They're kind of silly looking. They look like little fleas. They kind of flick, and I'm not seeing any. I did see some in here. Oh, I see one right there. It's tiny, teeny tiny. Like I said, the shrimp do not eat them, but for the fish, they're like candy. It's like a total candy store. I dropped them in there, and bloop, 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 they started just going to town immediately. Let's see if I got any in this tank. No, none that I can find or point out. It seemed for whatever reason they were flourishing in my Sakura tank, which would make sense. This is the best well-balanced tank. I've got a lot of plants. I've got a lot of moss. Still doing the Indian almond leaves and loss of words. What are they? Sorry. The Adler cones. So the Adler cones are always in there. But for whatever reason, it might be the lighting, it might be the plants, the right balance of plants. But this tank always does so well. So I maybe replicate that. Some other things that I've learned by kind of mixing my plants around in some of the tanks. You're going to get your your fast growers and your slow growers. Now these guys are rooted. I'm sure it's about time to get these guppies out of here, because I'm sure they're done eating the bugs and off to picking off the little shrimp fry. But it was amazing what they did in 24 hours. So if you're not worried about losing a few shrimp, actually it's not really a big deal at all. You can leave them in there. I was like, I'm sick of seeing these things. So I let these guys go in there for not even 24-hour period since I've dropped them in there. Alright, let's drop down. Another tank. So I'm setting up this guy. So I kind of redid the scape. I've got some Blue Dreams in here. I'm kind of spreading because I reached max capacity in our first Blue Dream tank. So here we are. These guys down here. Zoom in. Look at that. They're just chilling. Our first tank here. Oh, down. So this ivory shrimp taxi. I'm going a little fry. So these Blue Dream fry really stand out when they're on an ivory. Back wall, you can see there's hundreds of babies on the back wall, and uncounted when I kind of clean this tank and I kind of move this this giant ball of moss. They just scatter. They're everywhere. I haven't fed anybody yet this morning, so just gonna come down. I saw the guppy tank, the cleanup they did, and I was like, oh, I want to talk about that. Okay, over here, lights on, and we've got a nice group of magentas, browns. Looks like there's a yellow guy in there, or gold. You guys always hit me up that I'm butchering the term. All right, scooch it over. Our baby tank. So things going well in here. We've got a ton of blue rose shrimp in this tank. Doing well with the babies. We're still growing out our Blackfoot purples. I've probably got about 40 of them. 40 adults now, and we've got clutches, actually several clutches brewing, so hopefully we'll get those hatched soon, and we'll get this on the site because I know you guys have been asking about them. So those are coming, and obviously our purples, purple whitefoots, or magentas, looking pretty cool. I did have some that were kind of pink, and I'd like to try to replicate that, you know, because you get this deep, you know, the deep magenta here, and then I think I had some magenta and ivory mix, which kind of came out to be pink, and I thought, like, oh, how cool would it be to have a very reliable, predictable strain of kind of pinkies. Camera's yelling at me that I'm panning too fast. As you can see, some of these guys got a little too big. I gotta pluck them out of here. I do not let the adults and the babies reside in the same tank because they do hog all the food and thus muscle out the babies, and you know, I don't want anybody going hungry. So there are quite a few that I have to pluck out of here. The ivories seem to grow extremely fast, so tip to you guys, so if you buy, you know, I try to ship them out, you know, pea to marble sized, and if you get one and you're like, oh, I got this little snail, and just give it like 4 weeks. He's gonna be a monster, or she. Alright. Sipping up. This guy, we got to run with ramshorns, so here's our happy puffer. He is always happy to clean up our pest snails for us. That's the thing, when you make your environment rich and healthy for snails, you're going to get uninvited snail guests. So we've had him, he's about 2 years old now. He's extremely, he's a singular fish. We've had him with so many other fish and he never worked out. He always has to have a tank to himself because he's quite nippy. In fact, he was nippy to our angels, palm-sized, gigantic angels, and he still doesn't care. He'll still come up and chase them and bite them. So he's chilling out in here. So he's got this tank completely cleaned up for now, and then all of our scrap snails that kind of come in, well, he gets free lunch, free dinner, free breakfast. Another tank up here, so we're brewing some magentas, some pretty nice magentas up in here. There's another one. Sorry about the reflection. There we go, got a good angle so the light doesn't reflect. And we have plenty of blue dreams brewing in here as well. The floor has a lot of little babies doing their thing. Sometimes you get a zoom to see them. It's like, where's Waldo? So that's, and there's an ivory in there, another magenta on the filter. And so this is one thing I learned. So I've got on the top here, so I've got hornwort, fantastic column feeder, pulls the nitrates out of the water like crazy. Duckweed as well, and then also, which I've got to get listed on the site, giant duckweed, which I love this stuff. It's kind of like little floating lily pads or four-leaf clovers. You can see it a little better in this tank. I've actually got to set another tank up because this one's overloaded, and we're doing water changes like pretty much every day on these guys. So plenty of magentas growing out, so we're going to have eggs, and more eggs, which means lots of babies. So other thing we'll talk about, the mail service and shipments. The election coming up, we're kind of on the fence. We're thinking of like shutting down for a couple weeks. We're not out of business by any stretch, but the mail service is becoming, we're really quite worried about the reliability of the mail service during the election period, and we do not want any of our friends to perish in transit, get lost, be stuck in late deliveries. You guys aren't going to be happy with that. We're not going to be happy with that, and obviously we don't want the loss of life as a result of the mail service. So there are guaranteed. We may keep things open and then only allow guaranteed shipments. So that might be going through UPS Air or the mail service. For the life of me, I can't remember, that guarantees delivery. Trough's doing well. There isn't much to talk about with the trough right now, other than we got plants. I moved some of this pennywort in here. Look at the size of these leaves. So I'm going to get the pennywort listed and the the giant duckweed listed on our site pretty soon here. So and the pennywort will grow out and down the tank. So it's one of those cool plants that can live in underwater, can live kind of on the surface like this, and it will actually grow up and out of your tank. I also kind of like the look of the duckweed and the giant duckweed together. I don't know, it's just kind of a cool look. And we have low light plants underneath here. So if I kind of move that out of the way, so we've got some crypts, some anubias, and because I have really strong plant lighting here, these guys on the top are, I'm not incurring, crazy algae growth or imbalance, because I'm kind of filtering the light down to those low light plants via the duckweed and the pennywort. Alright, well, again, until next time, Ray from Tails and Snails Aquatics, and we'll see you guys around. Bye.